so it's settled in. We'll officially call the meeting to order now. Alyssa, I may have turned off your microphone. Check it. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And as we normally do, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, and neighbors, as well as all those suffering around the world. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Roll call.
Mike Mussina.
Present.
Ed Whitman.
Present.
Mary Adler. Present. Matthew Pellicano.
Present.
Annette Daly.
Present.
And Ray Lawrence, property manager.
Excused absence. Okay, we will now record the approval of the minutes from last open board meeting dated 5/22/25. May I please have a motion from a board member for this approval?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
May I please have a second? All those board members in favor of approving the minutes from 5/22, please state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state nay. The ayes have it. The motion for the approval of the minutes is now passed. Okay, that's all the formal stuff, right? Okay, so as a carryover from our last open board meeting, I'll now reintroduce our board members, because we have a couple of new ones. So our Director at Large, Annette Daly. Our Secretary to the Board is Matthew Pellicano. Matt. Our Treasurer remains as Mary Adler. Our Vice President remains as Ed Whitman. And I remain as President. Okay, today we have a single motion for approval, and this is something that was mentioned last month as well. Every year, there's an independent audit conducted by the Homeowners Association Finances and Reporting Structure by Wilkin and Gutter Plan CPAs. We do an annual evaluation. And it's more than just the bottom line to see if our numbers are right. It's also to see that our accounting methods are consistent with present legislature law or whatever. So it was a very positive, as usual, report, the audit, and it was mentioned significantly that Lake Ridge is one of the few communities that is so financially sound, and our accounting is on the money. So to that I offer thank you to the Finance Committee.
Is that a clean report, Mike?
I'll mention this, Phil, a copy of the report is available as of right after this meeting if you'd like to have your own copy to look at it. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to say there was one question that was resolved, only one to my knowledge, but a full copy of this report is available to each and every homeowner if you so desire. Copies were made yesterday, and as soon as the meeting's over, you can pick up a copy if you so desire. Okay? I think that was clean, though.
Okay. You want me to make a motion?
Okay, so may I please have a motion from a board member for the formal acceptance of the annual audit?
I make a motion to approve the 2024 finance report submitted by Wilkins and Gutter Plan CPA as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Okay, may I please have a second?
I second.
All those board members in favor of this motion of accepting the annual audit, please state aye.
Aye.
All those board members opposed, state nay. The ayes have it, and the motion for the acceptance of the 2024 audit is now passed. That's it for motions. Continuing on with the President's report. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, sorry. Ray is not here, so I'm going to do his report at the end. Board members and liaison appointments. Each formal committee has a board member assigned as a liaison. A third draft of these responsibilities was reviewed today, just before this meeting, and a final posting of these responsibilities will be available later this week. For now, I will be mentioning the 5 main committees and board liaisons. And I said 5 because the Docs and Policy Group, although not a formal committee, is very significant, and we're in the process of that, and I'll explain that a little bit. ARC will be headed up by Ed Whitman along with Matt. Now, Matt will be training to take over being the liaison for ARC as soon as he can, within a year's time or less. So ARC is going to be Ed and Matt. Government and Grounds will be headed up by myself until such time that Ed Whitman is freed up to go from ARC to go back to Grounds. And Annette is going to be with me for Grounds, as she wants to learn about that as well. Okay, so Grounds is myself and Annette, and Government is myself. Finance will continue to be headed up by Mary. And as I mentioned, Docs and Policies, which is not one of the 4 formal committees, will be headed up by myself and Annette, who will be training to assume this responsibility. Now, I just want to say something about the Docs and Policies. We did governing documents, the overall governing documents. Then you do your bylaws, and then you do ARC and Grounds, and then all of them have to be alignment. There should be no contradiction from the top down. So this is something that has not been accomplished since the year 2006. And now, when we're done, hopefully in the next several months, all of the documents and policies were reviewed within the last 2 years, and it'll be done. So, in a good world, those will be reviewed every 3 years, 4 years. Okay? 2006 was a long time. Okay. So the more details on individual things like who is the liaison for the home sales committee and stuff like that. That is actually decided upon, but it's available soon. So now I'm going to touch on a couple of issues that, that we all know about. The first one is the Whitesville Gate. It's possessed. We called in the priest to do the exorcism. Okay, so the magnetometer, which is a coil that senses cars leaving the development, has failed. Below the blacktop, and if you drive out Whitesville, you can actually see there's a cutout of the blacktop. Below that cutout, so now you gotta dig that up, dig the dirt up, is a special coil that goes in the ground. 600 feet of coil crisscrossing back and forth. As you drive out, it senses your car is made of metal, and it opens the gate. Well, it thinks there's a car there all the time. So, the repairs, 3 quotes were reviewed, and this is why it took time. 3 quotes were reviewed, and the repairs to this part of our gate system have finally been understood, and the repairs were awarded last week, and the parts were supposed to be here, and it was supposed to be started fixed yesterday. As anything else goes, nothing goes smoothly, the parts never came. So we're expecting the parts, and don't hold your breath. Tomorrow, the parts are supposed to be coming in, which means the repairs should start next week. Do not hold your breath. Just so you know, the reason why it took so much time, well, the repair is $5,300. Okay? This is I call it a gizmo, but I know what it is. But this has been in the ground for 23 years. It broke. Okay, but it's $5,300. Obviously, we have to get it fixed, but you have to go out for a bid for 3 companies, and this was the competitive bid. It's also being done by the company that's presently doing our gate system now. But it took time, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience, and I realize it's a breach of our security, and I couldn't do anything about it. Okay, let's talk about an easy topic, landscaping. Okay. This has always been a hot topic for as long as I've lived here, and it'll be 9 years this July. But with the help of rain from Mother Nature, the lawns are much greener this year than last year's drought-ridden year. From last year's town hall meeting, different enhancements to our landscaping service have already been accomplished. but there is still much, much, much more to work on. But here are the changes that have been accomplished from that last town hall meeting. The bagging of all residents' front yards is now happening every other cut. Every other cut, the front lawns are being bagged because there was a complaint that the grass was finding its way into the garage, into your house. It's every other cut. Just so you understand, the original contract did not include that. So, for each front lawn that we cut, there's an additional $2, doesn't sound like a lot, times 926, times, say, 9 cuttings, give or take 20 grand. So we added back into the, we didn't add anything to the budget. We're going to be over budget. Bill's grabbing his chest. We're going to be over budget for landscaping with this one enhancement because we needed to do it to the tune of $20,000. So we'll have to find a way to save $20,000 between now and the end of the year for that enhancement. So that's the first accomplishment. Cuttings are not happening on weekends. This was an issue that was brought up at the town hall meetings. A lot of people said, I work Monday through Friday, I don't want to hear a mower on Saturday and Sunday. I get it, they're not cutting on Saturday and Sunday now. So that was the second thing that came out of the town hall meeting. An extra weed control has been added to the program and is being applied next week. We have too many weeds. We all agree to that. So an extra weed treatment. And again, and I'm going to look this way to another finance person. That extra weed application across 926 houses costs $20,000. So when you break it down, that's $20 a house. I bought a bag of weed and feed. I did my lawn. It cost me $30 at Home Depot to buy this one bag of weed and feed. We pay $20 for the application for an extra weed and feed, and that's what we're doing. Again, we have too many weeds. It's a blow to the budget. He's grabbing his chest again. I get it. But we have an issue that we're trying to deal with. Okay. Now we'll see where we're up to. These recommendations from the town hall meeting have been added with additional costs, as promised from the town hall meeting. 3 different landscaping companies were interviewed and have submitted quotes to assume our landscaping needs if necessary. 3 new companies have been interviewed and gave us quotes. If we had to throw out meticulous tomorrow, we have a company to back it up. That's the good news. Yeah, because to be noted is that each of these companies have minimally increased our expenses if we would pick them up $60,000 to $70,000 more than we're paying now. So when someone says, why do we have weeds? I say, I'll pay $20,000 to try to kill them, as opposed to spending $60,000 to go to a new company that may have the same problem with weeds. I don't know. So to put that in perspective, and there's a general rule, and Bill drilled this in my head, for every $11,000 of expense, the HOA fee goes up $1 per month for everyone. If you add 60 or 70,000, let's call it 65,000. That means the HOA fee would go up $6 a month for everybody. Now, I'm going to say, maybe I'm not as strict, and I used to be more crazy about my lawn. The lawn, I put a little weed and feed down, I'm happy with it. But for some people, a good portion of our residents are unhappy, and we're exploring everything we can to minimize the expense and try to get the most out of what we're paying. But we surely could pay more money and supposedly get a better service if we want to spend the money. Now, we increased the HOA fee through a number of things, including being dropped by our insurance, the township not reimbursing us. We increased it $24 a month. It could have been $30. So let's think about that. We're going to try not to make it 30, and we're going to try this. Now, not every decision the board makes is the right decision. Not every decision anyone makes is the right decision all the time. But you try. And if we're trying to save money and it doesn't work out, okay, we tried. But if we didn't try, we're not doing the right thing. Okay, so that's the end of landscaping, and I'm sure there'll be questions later, but I wanted to give you, upon my wife's recommendation, you might as well let it out now and get it all out, and then take the beating later, okay? All right, so beautification project, and that's the gazebo project that we did this year. I'm not sure how many people actually noticed because nobody came to me. You know the speed sign that used to be in front of the gazebo? Hasn't been there for 2 weeks, no one noticed. I don't know if anyone pays attention to it, but it's there for a purpose. But we're gonna relocate that speed thing, and we're gonna put it somewhere else, and there was this big ugly green bush that was in front of it that blocked the gazebo. And here we are, we spent all this money on the gazebo, and we blocking it with this ugly sign and this bush. So if you go when you're going home, take a look, see. It looks really nice because you see the whole gazebo and you see all the improvements that was done. So we're going to relocate that speeding sign that says 25 miles per hour, in case no one knows. 25, not 35, 25. And we're going to relocate it on the right-hand side so everyone can see it when you come in, and that will be accomplished hopefully in the next week. Okay. Okay. Now, just real briefly, Ed said everybody after this has to go to the pool because it's the hottest day of the year. So we'll enjoy that. The outdoor pool has been open since Memorial Day, but Mother Nature, although good for the grass, not so good for the pool. And as stated at the May open board meeting, the outdoor pool opens at 10 a.m. That's a change from last year. It used to be 9. And closes at 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Outdoor pool, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The indoor pool hours remain the same, which is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days per week. Family swim time hours are the exact same as they've been for the last 2 years. And that is Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. And on the weekends, it's 12 noon to 4 p.m., weekends and holidays. Lifeguards will be stationed at the outdoor pool, not the indoor pool, unless it's inclement weather and no one's outside, then they go inside, and then you can do family swim time inside. So again, when there's no lifeguard, the buddy system is in play, which means you should never, never, never swim alone. Never. Okay? So that's indoor pool, outdoor pool, doesn't matter. No one should swim alone. Okay? And that's actually all I have for the President's report. We will now move on to the Vice President report from Ed.
Good morning. Okay. I have several things to report. Number one, please, with the RoboCans, garbage must be placed in the can. You can't place plastic bags on the side of the street there because for a number of reasons, garbage winds up all over the street. So please, only in the RoboCan. The pickup schedule for both the garbage and the recycles is listed in the views, in the calendar section of the views. And up in the little corner of each day of the pickups, there's a little symbol, the recycle, the triangular recycle in green for recycles. And then the garbage pickup is also indicated in the calendar section of the views. So you put your garbage, your RoboCans out on those days and everything will be fine, but nothing. And if you have a special pickup, for example, your recycles, your bulk pickup or something you want to be taken away, it won't fit in the Robo, you can call up the town and they will schedule a particular special pickup for you, usually on Fridays. So they'll come at your demand if you have a particular need for a pickup for recycles. Number two, the Audiovisual Committee is looking for volunteers. We need people to help out with these sorts of events where we get these things needed to be put in. So there are applications in the kiosk for committees, so you can fill out one. When you can speak to Ed Miscavige, all around. Ed does so much, it's hard to keep track of all the things he does do. But one of the things he does is he makes sure that these things work and that the lights work, so that we're not blinded by the lights. So speak to Ed and please help out with regard to audio visuals. Another announcement, the shuffleboard courts, which have had a trip hazard involved in getting on and off the court, that's going to be addressed and repairs will begin tomorrow on the shuffleboard court. So you probably won't be able to use it tomorrow, perhaps as long as it takes for that repair to complete. And lastly, to follow up on what Mike said, I will be the ARC liaison working with Phil, along with Matt, with regard to the ARC agenda for the next couple of months until Matt becomes familiar with it and then I can return to grounds, which I've been doing for a couple of years now. And that's it. So, thank you.
Just to clarify, I don't know, I see faces and I recognize a lot of familiar faces all the time, but at the town hall meeting with the township, it was stated by the township that recyclables in particular, if you have a problem where you have too much recyclables, they will make an extra pickup upon request. The request normally has to be made by Friday, no later than 3 o'clock, and they'll come that Friday, and they'll make a second pickup for recyclables if you need it. Now I'm going to say this, maybe my area around me, I have 5 or 6 neighbors, and I go to Jack, I got too much recyclables, I'm going to put some in your can. He goes, okay. Next week he says, oh, I got an extra bag of garbage. Throw it in my can, it's empty. So you don't necessarily have to do extra, but I would think to the right and the left and the 3 houses across that you can have some type of rapport with your neighbors, that you might want to consider that. Because I think, if you don't want to do it, that's fine, call the township, but there's other ways to skin a cat. Now, I will tell you something else just to dovetail on this. I received a phone call yesterday from one of our residents who said they didn't pick up my garbage, they didn't pick up my recyclables. They skipped me the week before, the 2 weeks before they did it. The township's going to screw up. They have a list of people, and this woman is physically challenged, and she's on the list where they come to the garage door and they bring it down, dump it, and put it back. Well, whoever was driving the truck skipped her. Not supposed to happen. But she tried, and she said, and I have to believe this, because I tried calling the township 5 times. I get nowhere. Fix it, Mike. Okay, there you go. So what we're doing, and actually Alyssa took care of it, the reason why I bring up the point, if you try to call the township and you get nowhere after 5 times, I don't know what the number should be, then you call the office and the office will try to call. And if that doesn't work, then it gets escalated to Ray, who's the property manager, who has the cell phone numbers of the guy in charge of trash and recyclable pickup. So there's a process. So although I love all the phone calls that I get, I still gotta call Alyssa. And she actually fixes everything. Okay, and that takes care of Ed's report, so we'll move on to a very short treasurer's report from Mary. This is an early month. Normally, we do the 3rd week, but it's Juneteenth next Thursday. I'm not even sure what it means, but be that as it may, it's a national holiday, and that's why we moved the meeting. So Mary, would you now give your treasurer's report? There you go. You want to say anything? Just don't spend any money. Mary said not to spend money. On that note, and I wrote it down here, July 5th, and we can always argue about what day we do this every year. July 5th is going to be the hot dog thing by the pool, which is open to all residents. Okay, so July 5th. Okay. So we'll now move on to the Secretary's report from Matt. You want to say anything, Matt? It's his first meeting, and all, you know, we're all kidding around. It's his first meeting, I don't know exactly what he
No, I'm just looking forward to, working with the ARC committee. I have 30 years' experience in construction and landscaping and solar energy and stuff, so I'm really excited to work with them and the security.
So Matt brings a wealth of knowledge, and it's in his wheelhouse to know about things like repairs and stuff, which, you know, it's good support to the board. So given that too long of a report now. Now we'll move on to the Director at Large report from Annette.
Hi. I will be the liaison for the Docs and Policies, and also the Home Sales Committee, and the Security and Grounds Committee. So give me some time, and I'll learn the ropes and do the best I can.
Okay, so ordinarily Ray would read his report, so I have a copy of his report, so I'm just going to read it. And some of it might be redundant, but some of it may not. Okay, from Ray's report, legal, 2 formal complaints were submitted by the attorneys for 2847 Roseville Court and 2616 Vicariate Avenue. Reimbursement for contribution of sales fee. ADR mediation was held on July 22nd with, and that was last year, July 22nd, with minimal resolution. Complainant will not receive the requested reimbursement of closing contribution, and the legal fees so far accumulated include $15,122 from last year, some $36,000 from this year as of April 30th invoices, for a total cost of $51,316.59. Attorneys have filed and countered claims, and I was just talking to someone, so people are going to say, where are we with that? And here's how it works. The court's now closed session from June and July. They're on vacation. Interesting. So at best, our side of the equation, our position will not be presented probably till August. Then the judge will then review that, and there's 2 things that could happen, probably more, but the 2 that I know. One is that he could do a summary verdict right then and there after hearing this side and that side, or he could ask to bring everybody together to talk, or some variation of that. So when people come up and say, where are we with the lawsuit? They say, we're in limbo. We probably will not hear anything until September. I don't know. I was talking to one of our residents who's a lawyer. He says, "Oh yeah, they're closed during June and July." Oh, that's okay. Okay. Under contracts, some of it is redundant. I spoke about, I misquoted. The repair for the Whitesville Gate is $5,213.96. That includes tax. I said $5,300. Quality First will be on site Friday and Saturday to repair the court, and hopefully that will go over well. Precision Court Surfaces will be on site this Friday to perform crack repair and repaint the tennis court surfaces. The cost of this project is approximately $1,800 plus tax. Meticulous Landscaping started their mulch installation on common areas around the Whitesville. At the last meeting, somebody came up with, and they were right, the Whitesville Gate, Massachusetts Gate looked horrible. And they started doing that, and if you notice, the rings coming up the main boulevard have all been mulched. They should prune the trees a little bit better, and I may end up doing that with my wife, watch. I don't know, because, that's the front entrance. It should really look nice coming in, If I see a dandelion, I get out of my car and I go nuts. I don't like dandelion. We are still looking at the retaining walls, and again, we have 14 retaining walls in this community. that were all made out of wood that are all now 29 years old. And we're looking at, and Matt brings a good portion of this. He has construction experiences, so the solution that we were looking at, he came up with a possible other solution that we're going to explore, because we're looking for, A, that it looks good, it's economical, and it lasts. And he does construction. That works out. And we mentioned Tom's River Public Works requested all residents call them directly for any issues about collection. And they did say, if pickups are not completed by 3 p.m. in the afternoon, contact should be made to this number, 732-255-1000, extension 8101. Now, I know it could be very frustrating calling them if they're not answering. So again, they want to hear it firsthand because they can dispatch the truck immediately and get it resolved quicker. ARC violations. We are reminding residents that the ARC committee and the management office are making inspections on all complaints and reported violations. Residents are notified through correspondence of the violation and requested action. So far, we have 42 registered violations under scrutiny. And enforcement efforts have resulted in over $13,000 in fines. Once the violation is corrected, residents can meet with the board and ARC and finance committee members to discuss any leniency possible. If warranted, most common and recent complaints deal with the use and storage of garbage cans. We are just over 30 days into working with Tom's River Public Works, and we find that some residents are still unclear regarding the proper protocol. So we're going to be very clear. Garbage cans go in the garage, not stored on your back patio side of your house. And there's been a honeymoon period where we've kind of looked the other way, but starting on Monday, that's going to be ramped up. So I'm asking everyone to please adhere with the rules. And interesting enough, I drive around the community a fair amount. I pass one house and they have a pinwheel. Pinwheels aren't allowed, but there it is. I go to somebody else and they have something else, a big lawn ornament. Not allowed. So I'm encouraging people to please read the ARC standards, which were recently redone. And that's how you avoid getting a violation. And if it's unclear as to something you're doing outside, Phil has volunteered his time, the office is available to show you where in the regulations that you can or can't do something. But nobody wants to get a letter saying you're in a violation. Now, some people may want that, I don't know, whatever. But the reality is we all have a responsibility as residents of Lake Ridge to kind of know the rules. And if there's a doubt, then yes or no. That's really it for Ray's report. He had a short report. So that was good. Okay, so we are now up to the last page I didn't look at. Okay. Okay, so now may I now have a motion to complete the business portion of this meeting? Someone make a motion for me, please?
I motion.
Okay, may I please have a second? Mary? Okay. All right, all those board members in favor of closing this business portion of the meeting, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, state nay. The ayes have it, and the business portion of the meeting is now closed. Okay.